Hi, I'm John Estus. I'm a government reporter here at the Oklahoman, and we're here with Michelle Day today. She's the Acting State Auditor and has been pretty much since January, but officially stepped into it earlier this week when her boss, Jeff McMahon, resigned. So let's just learn a little bit about you. Just tell us who you are. I know you're an attorney, but give us a bit of your professional career and tell us something about you.
Well, my career with the state began back in 1991 over at the Department of Public Safety. So I served in their legal division and had moved up to their assistant chief of staff there in the legal division. And then I had gone over to the Department of Central Services for the state to serve as the general counsel there, and served there for 4 more years. And then after that, I went to Oklahoma County District Attorney's Office, where I was assigned to represent and assist the elected officials of Oklahoma County. So I spent another 3 years down there before I went over to the State Auditor's Office in February of 2007.
Okay. So you were well-traveled. And for most of this year, you have been the Acting State Auditor. I guess everyone's curious if this is a job you'd like to continue in, if something if asked, that you would like to take on full-time.
Well, certainly when I went over to the auditor's office, it was to serve more as a general counsel and deputy state auditor inspector role that was more affiliated with just the legal side of it.
Right.
But I also have an accounting degree and have worked in budgets and accounting processes throughout my career that I was describing. So that need became recognized. I quickly moved up to the chief of staff position there in the auditor's office last fall. So then whenever the circumstances arose for the indictment in January and Mr. McMahon stepped aside, it was certainly, I think, a compliment to me. I certainly appreciated the challenge and the confidence that everyone gave me to step in and lead at that point. And I would be willing to serve however the governor chooses in the future.
Okay. So you like the job. What do you like about it?
It's a wonderful foundation there. You have got a great support of staff at the auditor's office. It's bigger than any one person.
Right.
There's 134 people there right now. They have an executive team that's put together that has over 200 years of experience in government auditing, and then that's backed up with the new recruits we've been able to bring in that are very highly qualified. Now we're bringing in CPAs that have already set for their testing and now need their experience hours, and some other qualified graduates. So it's an exciting place.
So you've got a real diverse group of people there. For people who may not know, tell us real briefly what the auditor's office does and why it's important.
What we do.
Because you hear audit and you might go to bed real quickly.
That's
but
true.
What do you guys do?
Well, certainly our core mission is to perform the audits that are needed on the government agencies, boards and commissions, and county government across the state of Oklahoma. So we are present in every county in the state of Oklahoma. Now we have 3 different satellite offices that are located in Ada, Weatherford, and Tulsa that service those districts. The audits, of course, are our ability to serve the citizens of Oklahoma to make sure that it is being managed appropriately. Those audits are used then by firms that rate your bonds whenever you're going out to sell them. That also are necessary for the federal funds that come in to assist the different small counties right now that, of course, are suffering and need the FEMA funds to come in and help them. To receive those, you have to have an independent audit done, and so we're there to make sure that that's there and reported well so they can continue receiving that assistance.
Okay. You know, I've always been curious, because I've known you for a little while, how you ended up in that job. Did you know Mr. McMahon previously, or did he tab you for this? Is something you applied for? How'd you get the job?
I did not know Mr. McMahon previously.
Okay.
I did know his prior general counsel, though.
Okay.
And he had been in that position for 18 years, and he was leaving that position and going over to another state agency. I saw the email where he was notifying me as a friend of his and many others that he was making that transition and that the position would be open. So I contacted him because I always felt like the experience that I had had working in the different agencies, and then at that point I'd also picked up the county experience, would have developed me well to step into that role. He felt that way as well, and so the ball started rolling, and I eventually was hired.
I was curious because I know you are a Republican, right? And
I am.
Okay, because I always wondered if it was an appointed thing, but that makes much more sense to me now. Okay.
Right.
You know, I guess it was just a few months after you started working for Mr. McMahon, there was a bit of scrutiny of some of his campaign donations and some trips he had taken.
Right.
And you were called into a meeting to learn about it, and because it was mostly the first you've heard of it from what I gather.
Right.
From then to now, tell me how the mood of the office has changed and if you've had to make sacrifices to get your jobs done.
I'm not sure having to make sacrifices to get our jobs done, if that's an appropriate term to use in there. Again, we have quite a talented staff there. So the whole mission has been to tap into those resources there, use them to their fullest so that we can accomplish the core mission of the agency and our charge by statutes. The changes through the months, of course, that have occurred, they've been wonderful. They've been there to be supportive and to do the jobs that they know they needed to do. Our audits have been coming out timely. We've certainly met deadlines that we have many because of those reports I mentioned, our comprehensive annual financial reports, all the wonderful acronyms that we can throw out.
Yes, indeed.
But the busy work certainly does not stop. And so they've been wonderful to keep their heads up and to keep moving forward without a misstep.
Staff is strong and you're not behind and everything's running.
That's correct.
Okay, that's good to hear. Now, did Mr. McMahon ever really speak to the staff much about it? Were they able to remain focused and just focus on their jobs and not really have to worry about the distractions that they might have been reading about in the newspaper? What was the hardest thing for them, I guess, is my question.
Well, I don't know how exactly to speak for them.
Yeah.
I do know that I had made efforts along the way to keep them informed, either by an email announcement or by meeting with the executive team that I spoke of, so that the information could be shared down through the different employees that are there at the agency. We would keep them informed as much as we could, knowing what was happening at the different steps as the matter proceeded through the system. Of course, whenever the indictment was handed down and Mr. McMahon stepped aside at the request of the Governor and Attorney General, things took another deep breath and everyone moved forward. But I'm very pleased to say that it did not miss a step, that they were able to keep focused and to move straight ahead in performing their services.
And how are things now?
Well, Monday was a step that took everyone again to take a deep breath. They certainly have thoughts and prayers going out to the McMahon family. They knew them all. They knew the extended family after that many years as being a co-worker even in the auditor's office. So the first announcements are difficult for the employees, but that's difficult in the heart. Fortunately, they have kept their heads focused, and again, they're all tasked with doing quite a job and very good
busy enough
professionals.
already. It seems like there's no time to sit around. So
right, there isn't, and it's a good not sit around. It's not that they're so focused and overtasked to try to get the jobs done, but there's certainly enough there that they do stay busy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, did you break the news to them about the resignation, or did they find out, through the news and whatnot? Was there a meeting about this, or anything?
There was not enough time to have a meeting, and of course, like I said, we've got employees that are spread across the state, so there's not a centralized office to step into and make an all-encompassing announcement to each employee, as much as you would like to be able to afford them that. However, we were afforded an opportunity to go ahead and make the announcement by email so that they could learn that we had received a copy of the resignation and that it was effective immediately, and that we would be moving forward now, and not to be any more concerned about it than you would be simply by human nature, and they've all responded quite well to it.
Okay. You've got a unique position on this. What qualities does the next state auditor need to have?
Well, I think it does need leadership qualities. It needs that position that people are willing to follow, that they have confidence in, that they know can lead them through. And they've got the talent there to be performing their day-to-day functions. So they need another position that's in there to make sure that they're all still working together. They have different job duties, so it's not, when I say working together, like you've got one team assigned to do a particular audit and they're not together. We have a state agency division, we have a county audit division, we have a performance audit division, an investigative audit division. Yeah. So keeping them all informed about what is happening with each other, and to make sure that they can tap into the resources that might be available in one area at one particular time that wouldn't in another. Okay. It's an interesting agency. It's a good challenge, but it certainly is capable of being the best auditing firm for the state of Oklahoma, and I think we're well on our way over the last several months.
Okay. Well, it's good to hear. Best of luck to you. This is Michelle Day, our Acting State Auditor. Thanks.